Bernie here from Stamp and Eat, and welcome back to another Friday card making session with me. And I hope you have had a wonderful week from the time that we last caught up. So today I have been having so much fun with a few of my brand new stamp sets from the mini catalogue, and I'm going to show you shortly where they can be found. But I want to show you what I made today. So this is a very easy, fun fold card that you will be able to whip up quite quickly. And as I always do, I put all the measurements on the video. So I'm going to not necessarily rattle them off now because my piece of paper is not nearby, but all the measurements will be nearby. So you can do anything with this card. The template is really straightforward, and you can also make this bit a lot wider when you cut it if you wish, but this is what it is, and it's half a sheet of A4 cardstock, and then that gets cut in half again, resulting in one sheet of cardstock will give you 4 cards. I think that's quite economical. And if you like what I have done with my design, well, let me show you what I have used. So this is the new Stamping Up mini catalogue, which I can now show you inside. And I used a combination of stamp sets. I used the Fancy Floral and the Delicate Desert. So on the Fancy Floral, that's on page 14. For this stamp set, I used the leaf out of the two-tone floral, the sentiments out of the something fancy, the embellishments, and I even used, let me just get it in there, I even used some of the paper. And then from the desert, Delicate Desert, I must say, when I saw this in the catalogue, I was not impressed, but I have absolutely fallen in love with this set. And I will show you a card right at the end that is going to be available for a tutorial that you can purchase, and there will be a step-by-step video that you will link to, and I will show you step-by-step how to make the card featuring this beautiful paper and the bundles. So in the Delicate Desert, what I used there was the bundle. So I used the stamps and I used the dies, and you will you will get to see what the other card, what I did with that. But for this one, that's what I've done. So let's get started, shall we? So you're going to need the piece of basic cardstock, as I will already, and there should be measurements up there for you. And you're going to need some scrap basic white to do your stamping. Now, for this card, it's best if you have about 5 different flowers, or you can even make it a Valentine's card and do hearts. So I did a combination of the large cactus rose and the small cactus rose from the stamp set, and I'll just demonstrate how I got this soft color there. And then I used obviously the dies to cut that out, and then for the leaves I used this stamp set and the leaf stamp set from the two-tone floral, which I've just shown you. The leaves do not have a die with them, so you will need to fussy cut them. And then the something fancy, I used this sentiment, I didn't forget your birthday, I'm just stretching out, which I thought is very applicable seeing as this card stretches out. So I hope you enjoy my sense of humor. So for this, you're going to need to stamp out, and I'm just going to demonstrate a couple, and for the purpose of this video I've already die cut them. So I'm using a combination of Calypso Coral. This one you can't see that well, but trust me when I say it's petal pink, and Sahara Sand, and those leaves are actually Sahara Sand. So I'm going to use my Calypso Coral stamp, and with the big cactus rose, and I've mounted that on a D clear block. I'm going to just ink it up. Now these are distinctive stamps, as you can see on the back. If I turn it, you can see it actually has, the ink picks up in certain places and it picks up in and doesn't pick up in others. So I'm going to do what we call a second generation stamping. So I'm going to ink that off, and then I'm going to come in and ink the actual stamp that I want. And there we can get, so even that one is a lot brighter than the one I had, so that's okay. So I'm going to do the same with my little cactus. So I've got just inking that up, stamping off, and for this one I actually went 2 and 3 generations to give it a nice soft feel. And then for the leaves, same situation. I used Sahara sand, and because these ones are photopolymer, you will need a mat. And I always, oh there we go, I tidied this up because I was doing a whole lot of tidying up before I came on camera, and then I put things away and I can't find them. So you're going to need one at full strength and the other one at a stamped off half strength. And yep, it is a bit lighter, but we specifically want that lighter. Okay, so you're going to need 2, and the other color I did was in petal pink, and I did a 3rd blossom in petal pink as well. So you'll need a full strength leaf, a half strength leaf. These we're going to stamp onto the cardstock. A half strength in Calypso Coral, a full strength in Petal Pink, and then 3 of those. So once you've got those all done, you're going to die cut them, and I'll just show you. These are the dies, and they go around the big one like that. And then this little guy, I've actually put a mark on mine. Let me just get that to focus. And he goes around, oh, he goes there, because it's a little bit trickier. So where you see that petal come out, that's where that die fits. And as I've already said, these leaves get fussy cut. Alrighty, so doing that all, as I've already done for the sake of time, we can now assemble it. But before we do, I just want to show you another little trick. I used some of the designer series paper out of the Fancy Floral. This is gorgeous, and it's got some interesting things on the background, but I was after that grey, and I will use the rest of this in a card later on. But that is what made this interesting background for this stamp. And then I used the stamp set, the Something Fancy, to then stamp my I Didn't Forget Birthday, and I used the dies that match that. So in the Fancy Floral bundle, if you buy the suite, you will actually get all of this in the suite. And if you fancy this suite, then that will actually qualify you for not 1, but 2 free celebration stamp sets. So that is pretty amazing. Okay, let's get this all assembled. So the first thing we're going to need to do is stamp the leaves that are going to come on here. So I will just demonstrate a couple and then speed the camera up a little bit for you and then do the next step. So I found it easier to open up my stamp face that way, and I'm looking for using my Sahara sand again, and I'm just going to, I need my mat, which I've just moved away again. All right, and we will need to put the mat under the grid paper because we're going to stamp off the cardstock. So if you're picturing a flower arrangement, these leaves are going to be stamped down, and then I just like to come in with a second generation again and then come in again, and you can even go off there to give it some nice interest like that. And then you're going to take your 3 flowers, and do remember when you assemble these that you are going to only glue. So I recommend you glue on this side so that when you are assembling them, they are not getting glue on the reverse, because that is going to be open. So you don't want that. Now you'll see I put this one on a dimensional, but to be honest, I think doing this just by gluing will be sufficient. So I'm going to glue this for you, and then we can go to the next stage. So now that I've put those flowers on there, we are now ready to do the next step. And the next step, I just am going to open it like that, and it's exactly the same. I'm going to stamp off the petals towards that side, and then I'm just going to adhere one of my large cactus roses. As you can see, I've stamped it off in a combination of single and full strength and half strength, and I'm just popping a little bit of glue on the edge so that I can get an idea of where I want that. And I do want to actually keep that petal going in there, and I'm just going to hold that down. And by doing it on the edge, you will make sure that you're not actually gluing on the bit that has to go. Although, having said that, I have done exactly that. So just be careful when you do glue that you don't glue too far over the edge. And we'll just let that dry, and then I can pick that up. So now we're going to add the leaves. Let me bring the other one in. We're going to add the leaves and the last petal, the last flower over there. And it's a good idea when you're working with those cut out leaves to just position them and then glue them where you feel they work best. So you're really just sort of wanting to create a floral feel, and this one I might just do exactly the same and just tuck it like that so that it's got a nice continuous theme. So as you can see, I've now glued my flowers onto the back. They now open like that, and all that I'm now left to do is to put my banner and to glue in my sentiment on the outside, and that is pretty straightforward. I'm just going to glue back that part, and I'm putting it at an angle over my flowers. I don't really want to cover my leaves because I feel those leaves add some interest, and then I'm just gluing my happy birthday at an opposite angle like that, just taking it over like that so that I'm still getting, just straightening that up because it looks like it's terribly skewed. So let's just fix that. Okay, so we've got it looking like that. And now with the sentiment, you do want to just make sure that you don't want anything poking out. So pop some glue on the back of it, and I promise it does fit, and put it down, but don't adhere it as yet. And then, well, that's perfect. You're just popping it in, and then you're putting that down and then applying pressure on it so that it isn't going to show when you close that account. When you close that account, oh my goodness, that's my banking brain from a decade ago that's just come out. When you close that account. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, last thing that we need to do, let me just tidy up there, is to add some gorgeous sentiment embellishments. And I'm using the iridescent pastel gems, which comes from the Fancy Floral, as I've already said. And we're going to do exactly the same. Pick up these beautiful light ones. I love these ones. I seem to have not used so much of the blue, but the these iridescent ones I've used plenty of. So I'm popping one there, I'm popping one on there, and I'm going to add a smaller one. You just bring that into the camera smaller one about over here. And oh my gosh, there you have it. You have created this stunningly beautiful birthday card. And like I say, you can use anything that you have available, but if you do fancy this fancy floral suite and you do fancy the Delicate Desert bundle, then they will gain you or earn you some free celebration prize gifts with purchase. Let me show you the one that I'm going to be making available on my blog, so stampandeat.com, and there will be a link on the tutorial, and that will be a tutorial that I will step you through step by step how to recreate this particular card. As you can see, I have featured the Delicate Desert bundle in this one, and this is also a fancy fold, and it looks like that. So if you like what you see here and you'd like to replicate that, the link for that bundle, that link for that tutorial is down below in the description box, and you can just click on it, and that will take you to my blog page where you can purchase it, and you will receive a link to the YouTube video with a written tutorial as well. So thank you so much for stamping with me today. I hope you have had a fun time. I want to just ask, if you haven't yet subscribed to my newsletter, please go ahead and do that. I am always posting other ideas, tips and techniques, and they are always, being on my newsletter, you will always be advised of events or specials coming up before I go public with them. And that's especially important if you want to come on my retreats. So thank you so much for stamping with me. It's been my pleasure. And remember, until we meet again, stamp, eat, sleep, repeat.